I think the other thing I really want to see is how this Olaf jungle plays. He's kind of one of those champions who's always been good in the jungle, but it just feels like he's just kind of eventually come up in the top lane. I know when we saw the draft, of course, we were like, wait, is this Mordekaiser jungle? Is this Olaf jungle? Like, which one is going to go where? I almost think maybe we could have swapped those. As we're seeing right here, Indiana is looking potentially for an invade. They are going to find the Olaf, at least push him off. Are they going to get a ward down? Yes, they do. And that's just a great job. Early wards, get the vision, know exactly where the enemy jungler is going to be at all times.
Yeah, not just at all times, but definitely in that first pick as well. Because there was a ward on the red buff, Waynesburg decides to go for the blue buff instead. That could be a read from Indiana. There were no pings so far. So as soon as it spawns and they don't see Olaf there, they know they're going to be on the other side of the map. Considering that's the case, I'm wondering, I'm looking at Casey Bow as the Jarvan being on the other side of the river, really looking for an invade, if I do say so myself, but maybe I'm wrong. There was a protective ward coming through for Indiana in their red buff, and so they decide to proceed their early game.
Both teams with some early vision on those red buffs, as you said. Maybe an opportunity to maybe get some vertical jungling, but there is that blue ward down as well, so be curious to see what each team wants to do here. I do think the other thing to keep in mind, we were talking about this before the game, for Waynesburg, the player to watch is Quackies. There's a reason that was a triple ADC ban to start off in the ban phase for Indiana Tech. Quackies is expected to be the carry for Waynesburg, expected to be the player that wins them this best of 3 if they come out on top. So I think making plays around that bottom side of the map as often as they can with that Kalista Senna is going to be very, very important for Waynesburg. Meanwhile, it really feels like Indiana Tech has a lot more avenues. You can play through the Jarvan, you can potentially play through the Xayah, maybe even the Ahri if Raid Boss wants to go for a carry style build. They have a lot more options here early on in the game. The feathers just missed for the root.
Very, very close, but nice advantage that Indiana built because of getting the first level 2, and they pushed in, try to get some damage. That's as much as they can do at this moment, because although you do have the Nautilus, you don't want to commit that much because the Senna can heal, so you got to go in as soon as you know that you're going to get a kill, because having an exhaust, that protects more of your ADC than it does the ignite potential of being aggressive damage dealer as the Nautilus could have been.
See, really trading across the map, everybody at about that 50% mark. We see Mercy Penguin and Bandit Boy up there. Mercy Penguin pushing in a little bit, and that Jarvan potentially on the way up, but maybe gonna make a pit stop in the mid lane. We might get a full 2v2 here. Is KC Bo gonna come in, gonna find the Olaf on his chicken. Scatterweek is going to land, but so does the Flag and Drag. Inavochi trying to duel this Jarvan, but just does not have the health. First blood picked up. Can T22 find something? Unfortunately, retreated there. Flash charm is going to land. The Flag and Drag into the tower, though. Oh no, Casey Bo! The T2 tower melts him.
That is so unfortunate because it was very well executed. It had the flag and drag because there was so much awareness. Oh, just stop right there. Top lane wants to be super aggressive here on Mercy Penguin, but because they had vision and they knew that Invochi was going to be there, going for the early advantage that Jarvan has on that kit, and especially having Conqueror as well, it was so good to get the first blood. But as soon as they commit to it, the flash forward for Raid Boss and the charm, yes, it was going to be a lot of damage, but Syndra was full health, and gosh, looking at those tower shots, just melting them away, was very sad because the game started up pretty good, ended up being a 1-for-1 for both sides.
And maybe even a slight advantage to Waynesburg because their jungler actually did get the assist, and Vochi picking up one onto KC Bo while Raid Boss didn't get in range, so a little extra goal. I think maybe even neutralizes that first blood advantage that Indiana Tech got. So very, very small, but I like the play from Casey Bo.
Buff.
You never would have. I would be flaming my jungler in chat. I'm sorry. I would be like, come on, what are we doing? Do not give the mid laner, but he's going to try and get it back. But he's on a ward, unfortunately.
Okay, very nicely done by Syndra here to T22 having some vision around because the Jarvan would want to go on her. We're looking at this bottom side. The Balin is looking to go for an engage, but nicely done by Waynesburg, recognizing they have to be careful. And things are looking a little more quiet. But on the mid lane, the Jarvan still looking for that blue buff to come back.
Trying to complete the buff transfer back is Quackies and Dweezil we watch here doing a little bit of damage. Quacky's just barely able to get out of those feathers. Senna being taken very low here. Root is going to land on the Nos, but that's okay.
Oh.
Now, Icy Ice Baby dropping very low. Here comes Olaf as well. Meanwhile, Flag Drag into the mid lane. It's level 6 for Raid Boss. Charm's going to land. And the Spirit Rush Q finishes them off. Meanwhile, Zaya very low. Beelan forced to flash. Dredge line away. Flash forward from the Kalista. Trying to get in range. Root is going to land on the Nautilus. Should be enough for the kill. And Quackies picks up one, but Zaya survives just barely.
Very interesting that both sides ended up trading 1 kill on mid lane and 1 kill on the bot side. Indiana, KC Bo was very far behind on the levels, but they still managed to read well how things were going to go in the mid lane. Raid Boss said, I'm almost level 6. As soon as I have the Spirit Rush, we can go in. You still have your flash, so KC Bo gets the flag and drag. Very nice. Connecting with the charm and getting themselves a kill on T22. On the bottom side, you really gotta be careful with as much that can be done with the Senna and Kalista. The Senna is going to deal so much damage compared to other Enchanter ADC, Enchanter supports, and the Kalista, of course, early game pulling out those spheres just really rips any HP out of you. So very nicely done by both sides, recognizing that they could be trading things around.
The most important part as well in that mid lane kill is T22 had blown the teleport after that first kill, and now you can see it's over a 20 CS lead on top of that kill that Raid Boss got. That extra gold now is translated to an addition, basically a free level for this first dragon fight potentially. It is an Infernal Dragon, and it looks like, I think Waynesburg realizes, look, we cannot fight this. We're down a level in mid. We've lost Prio bot lane. Let's just give up this first dragon. It's nothing too serious. I would like to see Invochi maybe be on top of that Rift Herald, but instead kind of back. There's no vision anywhere on the map for Waynesburg right now, except for that one defensive ward that you see on your screen right there.
I feel like it's an interesting play. I agree with you that it was better just to give it away for Waynesburg. But it's interesting as well. They decided to commit on going for the plating damage after that. They didn't even take it down, to be fair, instead of trying to get more pressure on the lane in wave management to guarantee priority for Waynesburg on the first Drake. That's not what happened. So when they reset and came back to lane, it was all pushed up by the side of Indiana. It was shoved underneath the red side tower, and then KC has such an easy time taking the first Drake of the game. So it's an option. I feel like Waynesburg could have contested. Speaking of contesting,
All of Forge God going to come in. Knockup's going to land. Raid Boss here as well. Charm will land. Oh, but the auto attack denied by the Mordekaiser shield. Realm of Death going to be used on Bandit Boy. This could be huge. I think Mercy Penguin needs to find this kill. He has no idea. There's 2 members on top of him, and he will quickly be taken out by KC Bo. Really, I think needed to push forward, but at the end of the day, it's a great pickup for Indiana Tech.
It really is, because having an Ahri in your mid lane really guarantees that you're going to be getting more roaming potential. She's already had 20 CS, so if she loses a little bit of those minions, it's fine. You get a kill, almost getting a kill there for your mid laner, but very, very close. The shield on Mordekaiser was strong enough. They ended up burning that flash, so at the end of the day, I think that was the best case scenario for Indiana. It's a kill and the resource denied for Mercy Penguin. Looking at that, mid lane for Waynesburg is rotating for their Herald.
They are going to be able to jump while this Herald T22 very, very low. Here's the Dawning Shadow coming through. Ragnarok's been popped, but unfortunately you cannot see immune the Jarvan wall. And now, Sophchan, it feels like Waynesburg is running out of options and throwing themselves at everything they can as they lose another one and the Herald.
Yeah, it's going to be a jungler down for their Herald, so KC Bo is going to take it with a lot of ease. They just picked it up for Indiana on the bot side. I like that Icy Ice Baby and the Balin are being more careful. They're just being more safe in their positioning. They're clearing out the waves, yes, but they're not really pushing forward. I think that's the best case because KC Bo is on the other side of the map, and you really don't want to give any advantages to Invochi. Having the Olaf in the mid game in the good curve is the worst thing possible. So because they are falling behind, especially KC Bo and 20 CS ahead as well, Indiana are setting up a stable and successful mid game.
I think the best option to maybe salvage this mid game is to get Mercy Penguin some help. As you pointed out, it's a 20 CS differences. Here we go. Mercy Penguin starting to do damage, but that Ornn getting more and more tanky. But as you said, 20 CS in the jungle. Nearly 40, actually just hit 40 in that mid lane. T22 has really not recovered since that second gank. I'd like seeing Vochi go top lane. That really feels like your lane you need, because not only is the Mordekaiser very powerful in the late game, you're able to isolate someone from a team fight. Just hasn't got any support at all up here.
I mean, sometimes people just really do forget about top lane if it's not a champion that needs that big assistance. For example, if it was an Olaf top, I would have said, yeah, go for the ganks on the Olaf, because he deserves to have that amount of pressure in the early game to run down platings and towers. The Charmlands here, and Rayboss is dealing so much damage, especially with that wand and the last chapter. They're very close to getting their Ludens. Although there is the same case for T22. Although, how did they manage to do that with 40 CS behind?
Feels like Raid Boss's Spirit Rush going to be popped. Charm going to land into the flag and drag. Raid Boss on a killing spree. I assume Raid Boss has to be sitting on a lot of gold, because you're right. The inventories feel too similar for the difference in CS.
Not just CS, but now the shutdowns as well. Not the shutdowns, the multiple kills going on to over the Wallfish.
Cataclysm going to go out as well. Here comes Raybuff off the blast cone, but a great use of the Fate's Call to get Dweezil at least to safety. Maybe looking for a dive here. There is a Herald in Caseybo's inventory. There isn't minions pushing. Blast cone, I don't know what Raid Boss was going for there. Here comes that Herald. And Caseybo's sticking around. They're really debating if they want to dive or not. 4 members are here. Here comes the wave. Flag and Direct not going to land, but the root will. Caseybo has to try and get away. Ragnarok going to be popped, and it's a huge shutdown to Invochi. Featherstorm going to come out. Flashed away by Quackies, who gets hit by the exhaust. Phelan goes down as well, and all of a sudden, Indiana Tech just throws away 2 kills.
It was just because Waynesburg was precise on that warding. There was a pink ward that was taken down. Then they get the 2 invisible wards to go alongside. That was the do or die for this fight, because if they didn't have any vision, that would have been certain flag and drag, certain charm for Indiana. But instead, they could dodge, they could remain safe under the tower, and that really denied the surprise effect that Indiana could have. They defend the tower, get 2 kills, and now confirm that first Drake of the game. A Chemtech. I'm enjoying Waynesburg, feeling very prepared mentally for this first quarterfinals.
And that was a huge, I mean, you're talking about trying to find that mid-game spike. That was what they needed, right? You get a shutdown onto your Olaf. You get the Dragon, as you mentioned. You get the Hextech Soul, which, of course, is going to open up the map quite a bit with those Hextech gates. Going to be easier to get out of spawn, easier to get on the backside of the Dragon Pit, of the Baron Pit. Really opens up a lot of mobility for maybe a champion like the Olaf, who struggles to chase people down when Ghost is on cooldown. Meanwhile, mid lane, Raid Boss gonna miss the charm. Spirit Rush forward. Caseybo looking for the flag and drag, but a great scatter of the week, but it does not matter. Cataclysm will pick up 1. Caseybo very low. Invochi should be able to land an undertow. Has the Ghost available. And we're just gonna sit on it. Oh, they used it? No.
They used it. As soon as they used it, Raid Boss landed that charm. Very nicely done. I agree with you. Maybe the ghost should have been used a little earlier. They were a little undecisive on what to do. Invochi still here in the mid lane. There is Mercy Penguin going for the swap, but I don't think it's going to stick. Yeah, they're most likely going to come back to mid lane, to top lane. And T22 needs that CS, now accumulating to 30 behind. Same case that you have in the jungle, 20 ahead for Indiana's Caseybo jungler. And on the bot side too, Quackies, you talked about it, Fish. It's the Emerald player, the one highest link that Waynesburg has in that composition. You are getting kills for the Callista. They are ahead in CS. They are picking out their first item very, very soon, probably the Blade of the Rune King. So whenever that does happen, the next fight for the Drake is going to be very tough for both sides.
The problem with this Syndra being behind in level as well is not only did you down 2 levels in the mid, which is awful for any mid laner, that means you're definitely behind on those Splinters of Wrath, which you need to hit 100. Once you hit 100, then your ult has that built-in execute. Hit 120, you gain additional 15% AP. There's so much scaling power in Syndra's kit after they reworked her a little bit ago, and none of that scaling is being achieved, Sophchan, because T22 is so far behind.
I will say, though, I believe they are using the first strike very, very well, because we're looking at the items again. They haven't finished out the boots, but they do have the magic boots coming from the rune. They have finished the Ludens, and comparing to the enemy mid lane of Raid Boss, 4-0 and 1, They also just have the finished boots and the Ludens, so I think the first strike might be doing some pretty good work for T22.
Second Herald being at least looked at here from Waynesburg, but I think one orb of deception for Raid Boss, and they quickly realize, yeah, I don't want to mess with that Ahri in the mid lane. Usually, this is not your prototypical, like, all right, we're just going to be CC bot Ahri, we're going to run the root item, we're not going to do too much, we're going to go full damage. Is Featherstorm going to go out? Quackies is going to take a tower shot in a 1v1 of these 80 carries. I think Quacky realizes, I don't want to walk into those feathers, and we'll just opt for a simple reset.
Yeah, Featherstorm used, it's a good way to know that the bot lane is going to be more fragile, more exposed. And one thing that I wanted to point out, Fish, is how every outer turret is only down like 2 platings. We are on 16, so it's already down. So much of that damage and that gold didn't really stick.
Uh-oh, here comes Raid Boss. The immediate Charm Spirit is going to pick up one. A root lands onto Invochi, and here comes the the depth charge out onto Quackies. There's 4 blue health bars here. Quackies may pick up a kill. They were just being too overly cautious. It's a triple kill for Raid Boss, but you can't allow that to happen in a 1v4.
Well, that's as good as it could have been for Waynesburg, right? Because at least you get one trade-off for your ADC. Quackies needs the extra gold, but something is really, really looking shady for Raid Boss in the mid lane because they are doing so well. This is a moment where Ahri should have been, maybe half an item behind. They are going for a Rabadons as well. That is a lot of damage that she's going to be asserting.
Mercy Penguin, no mercy at the top lane, decides I'm just going to pop the Realm of Death onto Bandit Boy and try and get something for the kill here. Bandit Boy running back to the tower. Great use of the Unstoppable to dodge the pull back. Meanwhile, mid lane, B-Lane going to get dove on here. Ult from Seta going to come out, but T22 will actually pick that up with the Unleashed Power. So a couple of ults burned on the support, but a kill is a kill, and that's what Waynesburg needs, is just extra gold.
It's not just the extra gold as well, it's less people pushing out the mid lane with this hero that was just popped by KC Bo. It's also having less people for the Baron fight. Speaking of less people, we got more people with 2 TPs coming from both top laners as we enter the pit, and so does the dragon.
Big difference here is Raid Boss
God.
is going to obliterate T22. KC Bo gets the kill. But Mercy Penguin doesn't have the ult. We saw Mercy Penguin use that Realm of Death top lane, so there's no isolation here for this Mordecai mute. Meanwhile, Call the Forge God is up. It's available, and it's knocking Mercy Penguin up in the air. Raid Boss is legendary. 8-0-2 right now is the Indiana Tech mid laner.
We love a perfect KDA, Fish. And you pointed it out so right. There was not just the fact that, yes, there was a kill that was taken on top of the Balin previously to this dragon fight, but then, oh, that was a lot of damage. I wouldn't expect that to take it down, but it did. Great job, Raid Boss. And the first brick is gonna go down as well as they go forward the flash away from Quackies. They give it away, so we're not going to see any more pushes coming from Indiana. But my point overall is that there was so many of those important resources, especially those ultimates used by Waynesburg, that when the Drake fight arrived, they really couldn't do anything, especially not having much vision. You're always bound to take those charms right on the forehead.
Problem for Waynesburg as well is they're not only losing the item check, they're just losing the raw stat check. You can see Invochi's about a level and a half behind KC Bo. He just hit level 10. I think T22 is in the same boat, only a level behind Raid Boss right now, but I think Raid Boss is very close to that level 13. And you just start to look across the map, Sophchan, you're like, okay, half this team, probably besides Mercy Penguin and Invochi, gets killed in one combo by this very aggressive Ahri build. Can Mercy Penguin and Invochi get in range of Raid Boss? As you see, Mercy Penguin still takes quite a bit of damage as a Mordekaiser with a decent amount of MR from that Ahri.
You know something that's very unfortunate about the perfect KDA? That they didn't buy Dark Seal.
Yeah.
They didn't buy Dark Seal. It would have been most likely completed by now. They didn't go for Rabadons either. So going for that second item instead is going to be so good against Mercy Penguin because you're going to deal more damage to those tanks. Good against Invochi as well. So that is a very good call. Although you want to have the explosive extra damage for Rabadons. Ooh, flash forward.
Flash for Mercy Penguin, going to use that Realm of Death. Spirit Rush going to be used, as well as a stopwatch picked up here from Raid Boss. And meanwhile, Casey Bo has roamed up, and Mercy Penguin quickly realizing with the Charm landing, the Dawning Shadow's not going to be enough. Maybe going to be able to get in range here. Foxfire going to be used, and Casey Bo blows the Cataclysm just to keep their mid laner safe and picks up a kill. Here comes the rest of Waynesburg.
Oh,
Might be too little too late. Nice double flash away from the Flag of Dread. Quackies looking for a snipe here, potentially on the Callista. Raid Boss smartly going to back away.
I think it's so interesting. We saw that Spirit Rush being available. Okay, so tier 3 is not going to get defended, or is it?
And Vochi gonna pop that Ragnarok. Balin getting shot by the tower, gonna get taken out. KC Bo gonna get hit by that Exhaust Fates call for the knockup with the Senna. Massive shutdown. Raid Boss
what in the world
back, and that is bad news for the rest of Waynesburg, because that is now a full health Raid Boss. We've hit phase 2, and luckily they're able to get away.
All right, and they're still looking for more. Maybe you gotta be careful because they do have quite a lot of damage to retaliate back, while Bandit is in the bot side, putting so much pressure on that tier 2. Mercy Penguin is forced to go down instead of trying to defend topside. I thought this tier 1 was gonna be taken. Ooh, nice dodge. What in the world is this damage?
We are playing with fire right now, Waynesburg. They are gonna land the Scatter of the Week stun. But unfortunately, Raid Boss able to make it away. Maybe fortunately for Waynesburg, that Ari has so much damage. You saw they missed everything except the Orb of Deception, and it still nearly killed Dweezil.
All right, Waynesburg, you have found yourself 3,000 gold behind, but at least trying to get some shutdowns. You did take one from KC Bo. It was a good comeback in defense for the tier 1 in the top side. So getting those things is very important. You have one Drake, so you're not that far behind on objectives either. That was one of the heralds that were also taken by Waynesburg. So they have a position to really climb back onto this, especially with the Hextech gates. They can reposition better, but so does Indiana, especially having KC Bo. A lot of that positioning and mobility around the map is just huge and has been very well utilized by both Jarvan and Ari. So whenever we have a 5v5 or 4v4, I still think the composition from Indiana fares better on those skirmishes. But Waynesburg, if they go for pickoff, especially going for the backline with Invochi, that can work out really well, especially with a good lined up Scatter of the Week.
I think my biggest problem with those 5v5s you're talking about, Sophchan, is there's no tank on Waynesburg, right? It's like, let's rely on the natural tankiness of the Olaf, now just finishing the Jaxos. Let's rely on the natural tankiness of Mercy Penguin with that Rylai's. Meanwhile, you have Bandit Boy building full tank. Of course, you have the Nautilus. So I think you're 100% right. We've got to find a pick. I just don't know. I mean, how many members do you think Waynesburg has to commit to kill Raid Boss? 3? 4? I just don't know.
Yeah, it's a difficult question. Oh, look at them again. They don't connect the charm here. The Scatter of the Week is gonna land though, but they don't want to commit because they're just so strong on the side of Indiana. There's no vision for Waynesburg either, so they really can't contest this. Are they going to try to do it either way?
Dragon dropping very low. This looks like it'll just be a handoff, and Indiana Tech will be on that soul point. Ward going to be eliminated. And all Waynesburg does is move around as a team. This could potentially be a look towards Baron if that's what Indiana Tech wants. Again, as Sophchan pointed out, there's very, very few wards from Waynesburg on the map. There's just that one sort of standard Baron pink ward that's down, and KC Bo is quickly going to spot it and take care of it. And now you're pushing into just pure darkness in the fog of war if you're Waynesburg.
Yeah, but at least for Waynesburg, you have Mercy Penguin with a TP up. You have T22 with the TP up. If they can position well, this could be a good point for them. We'll see if that's going to happen.
Scatter of the Week into the roots going to land, but unfortunately Dweezil just overcommits. Ragnarok going to be popped. They want to run down Raid Boss. Undertow going to be used. There's the Dawning Shadows, but Raid Boss just kites the Olaf away with the great use of the Spirit Rush. Gonna pick up one kill. Meanwhile, the fight resumes across the Baron pit. We see Quackies there, able to get out of the Cataclysm. Icy Ice Baby gonna chase them down as Raid Boss is here, and they're a Raid Boss for a reason. This is going to be a clean ace for Indiana Tech.
If there was a moment where Waynesburg could have done something, it was there, going for Raid Boss, getting those abilities taken out, no resources, but at the end of the day, Raid Boss still has that flash, still has the TP. They got the kill, and they are taking the Baron right as we speak. That's such a big lead for Indiana now, coming towards the 6,000 gold mark, whereas just before the Baron it was 3,000. So Waynesburg is going to heavily rely on those objective bounties at the moment, Fish, and trying to reposition better through these Hextech gates. So with them, you can try to more safely get those aggressive wards, so you have more vision, which is something that in Waynesburg haven't been able to do at all, and the times where they did try, they were met with a charm on their face. So things are really looking dire for them, as Raid Boss is really raid bossing.
And they got the whole combo, right? That's like the perfect dream if you're ever taking on Raid Boss. All right, we got the perfect start. We got the scatter of the week into the center route. Let's full send our Olaf, and Olaf just simply got kited despite the Ragnarok, despite the ghost. Meanwhile, they're going to find Olaf one more time. Ragnarok going to be used. While he cannot be disabled, he also cannot catch Raid Boss. Casey Bo going to pick up the kill. Depth charge going to get a knock up in the air on Mercy Penguin. Flag and drag for the follow-up knock. Let's just keep bouncing around like he's at a trampoline park. He goes up in the air for the 4th time this fight. Somehow still alive, thanks to that realm of death. As we do see Cataclysm finally coming out. Quack, he's going to try and kite backwards. We saw T22 did pick up a solo kill, but Casey Bo is just simply running them down in the base. It's a double kill. Raid Boss legendary. Another flag and drag, another knock up, and that's another ace for Indiana Tech.
Triple kill for Casey Bo, double kill there for Raid Boss as they finished out taking the tier 2. They have Baron buff. They might as well take tier 3 and an inhibitor next, Fish. Things are looking to be very close to an end for Waynesburg in this first match of our quarterfinals. Can they even reach Raid Boss thus far? They haven't been able to do anything close to that. So they don't even care. Don't use the Hextech gauge. Just go in between the towers. They are fine. Wave is pushing in the mid lane. They can take out this entrance to the base as well. Things are looking so good for Indiana in this late game.
The only thing that really saved Waynesburg there is the respawn timers at 27 minutes are still short enough that Invochi and company able to get up. But with that Baron, they're able to get the top inhibitor, as you said. They're able to get that mid tier 2. Now the base is really open. You have Dragon in a minute and a half. So now, look, you can get the easy reset. Probably want to wait on this Scuttle Crab. I believe the Scuttle Wards only last 60 seconds. So if Casey Bo delays it, would have had that vision up as the Dragon spawned. But I think Indiana Tech simply does not care. They have so much more gold. It's almost 10,000 gold. At that point, you can play a little risky.
Yeah, I agreed. If they wanted to, they could have no wards, they could have no vision, they could just go blind, face check, and they would be fine. And you know why? It's not just because Raid Boss has been so great on this Ahri so far, and Casey Bo has been so proactive on those flaggers and drags, with the flash connecting as well for the knockup. It's also about the fact that they have a Nautilus, they have an On, and with that much frontline, even with the Jarvan as well, you feel so comfortable to be dealing damage because there's such a big, like, wall of China in front of you that can protect the APC, the ADC, and they are not even close to danger. Where we saw in Vochi, the person that could have been the closest to running down on the Ahri, they can't even get close to it. There's just so much CC, there's just so much tankiness in front of them. We're looking at Indiana now, starting out their soul point, and they might as well just take it right before our eyes.
Yeah, the Dragon might as well have just surrendered on the spot because Waynesburg had no interest. Puts the Elder on the map, which kind of maybe feels like that last grasp hope for Waynesburg, but I don't even see how they win a Dragon fight, let alone maybe steal it, because just the level difference alone is just so massive. It's 2 levels in the top lane, 3 levels in the jungle, 2 in the mid, and there's so much power. Not to mention, on top of this 8,000 gold lead, there's now ornaments on every relevant player. Sorry, support players, I don't mean to offend you, but Beelan is the least important. There's ornaments on everybody that matters. That's just an extra 500 to 800 gold worth of stats on all these players.
Yeah, and you mentioned it especially for the jungle, right? Casey Bo on 16, that Smite is just going to secure the objective so much easier than Invochi would ever dream of. Being on level 13, that you really can't steal anything. Even going for good scatter of the week, T22 is not dealing as much damage anymore. I think there was a kill onto Icy Ice Baby in the previous fight in the top side because of the unleashed power on T22. Still, it's just one target, right, that they can execute. The rest, it's a big front line.
Right now, Indiana Tech just basically pushing away. A couple of auto attacks. Let the orange demolish proc on the mid lane tower. And Waynesburg probably is looking for that one last fight. You drew it up about 5-10 minutes ago, and I think everything you said is still relevant. Sophchan, you need a good scout of the week, probably onto Raid Boss or maybe even Icy Ice Baby. Follow it up with the root from the Senna and just try and poke them down. But look at how little damage they just did to KC Bo. Has the Frozen Heart, is not taking any damage, and here we go. Ragnarok going to be popped so they at least can get away for Invochi. Root is going to land on a KC Bo, but where is the damage? Ornhorn going to come out, a great 3-man Cataclysm, and Raid Boss going to shred with the Orb of Deception. Fate's Call used to get away, but it does not matter. Indiana Tech going to run it down and pick up a win here in game 1 of our quarterfinals.
Everything is exposed, Fish, and with that, Indiana has put themselves on a 1-0 up. Most likely the timers are quick as they don't have much of those levels, but Waynesburg don't have enough time to come back for this one. TV just for funsies, flag and drag, flashes, and everything they can do, and the stopwatch as well to finish out this game. And Indiana, we looked at your composition really well here. I want to see Quackies being super aggressive in the spot lane. I know there is an Nautilus on the other side and they do have exhaust, but I want to see Quackies and the wheels going so hard on level 2 that at least you force out some summoner spells from this enemy bot lane. For the other sides of the map, I feel like Mercy Penguin is going to try to deny some of the farm from Bandit Boy, but you said it so right. Like, the Shen doesn't even care. They can farm, they have shields, they can do really, really well. So early game is not going to be as interesting in the top lane as it's going to be in the bot side.
Interestingly enough, for Bandit Boy, there's no teleport. They actually brought the Ignite on the Shen.
Yeah,
so
right. Maybe it might be interesting after all.
Yeah, gonna be. I mean, of course, the Ignite really, really well into Mundo. Once Mundo gets the ult, cuts that healing down. I understand, but I feel like Shen has always been like the teleport ult combo is so unstoppable. So I think Bandit Boy has to pick up a lot of kills. The other thing, small change here for Indiana Tech. It's actually going to be GKM Marcus coming in on that support. They're picking the same thing as Beelan did, but it is going to be a substitute in the support role for Indiana Tech. We'll see if the Nautilus play changes at all. I mean, very interesting. You bring in a sub and you're like, hey, just play the exact same thing the other guy did.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the Ari for T22. They are looking very similar with the Ari with the pulverizers. No, actually, the only one who had a pulverizer, if I'm not mistaken, was T22 on the Syndra, so they might be playing this similar to how they were playing the Syndra, which is not very surprising at all. But let's look at the bot side. I want to see this level 2 and see who's going to be the first one to guarantee that all-in, because both Nautilus and Alistair really want to do it as soon as possible.
How well can Dweezil activate? There it is, the jump forward. Can they get the pulverized headbutt combo? Mark is going to be able to dredge line to safety, and that's kind of going to be the thing to keep an eye on for Dweezil if they land that headbutt pulverize. So powerful until you whiff, and then you knock them away, and you pound the ground, and there's no one there but some minions. So definitely a very strategic play that Dweezil has to make here every time he goes in.
Yeah, and to be fair, if they do end up pushing a minion, it's just going to... well, it's going to allow the enemy to have a little bit less fun. Oh, the flash forwards! It doesn't land, the knockup doesn't connect, and Invochi was around, so it would have been, and it was a good attempt. But now you only have the Hextech Flash.
Not a big loss there. Of course, with that Hex Flash, as you said, is Invochi ends up coming into the mid lane. Charm is going to land for T22, but not enough damage in this early game. Meanwhile, the Shen pushing out very, very strong. Again, I'd love to see some, especially with the Shen not having teleport. There is that pulverized headbutt combo, but no follow-up this time from Quackies. With Shen not having teleport, Sophchan, I almost wonder if it's worth getting Invochi at least to force Bandit Boy to back. That just allows Mercy Penguin to get so much free CS, especially if he's able to farm the way. But meanwhile, Bandit Boy got a little bit of a River Shen action going on here, at least going to get some scouting onto the enemy's ins out.
I like it. I like it. I think it's a good idea what you mentioned there for Waynesburg. Invochi could take this out of the enemy top lane, not having that TP. They can't come back to lane. They can't use the powerful level 6 combo coming back, going to help and then coming back to lane either. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Bandit Boy actually trying to fight for a Scuttle Crab or even more vision, because they have been pushing quite well. They have seen that Invochi is on this side of the map, so it's going to be easier to track them. KC Bo is also in the top side, so we might see both of them meeting each other on not just the Scuttle Crab, but maybe in the top side.
It does look like Casey Bo is going to at least walk into that enemy jungle. Meanwhile, there's the headbutt pulverize combo onto both members of the support. Stun gonna land onto Icy Ice Baby as well. But Quackies just does not have quite enough damage yet on that Tristana to really capitalize. Everything will slow down. Root is going to land here. Decent bit of damage onto T22, who is slowly starting to run out of mana. Hextech Flash being channeled there. Gonna just get rooted up. There's the headbutt away into the Mist Pulverize, and Dweezil wants to make plays, Sophchan. He just hasn't quite connected on a perfect one yet.
Yeah, not yet, but to be fair, they are using the Hextech Flash as much as they can. I think I appreciate it. At least you're trying to get those plays done and dusted, especially because having the Tristana on your side, they have to be so careful when last hitting so they don't push the wave too much, having that passive there on their E. So it makes quite a lot of sense. You want to try to at least make it a little bit of a nuisance for the enemy bot lane to go for that CS. As we're looking at it right now, they are doing a good job, but I want to see more pressure from either KCBO or Invochi on this bottom side, because these two ADCs are hyper carries. The Tristana, the Jinx, both of them just really need time to grow. They need the kills, they need the CS. They're very even on that farm sector, but they still require so much to make a difference. So with Drake on the map, we're seeing a reset from both junglers. This might be their next path.
Shen is level 6, so Stand United always available now, as Sophchan pointed out in the draft. It's going to come to that point where, oh, we can get a kill, oh, here comes the Shen, and we can't get a kill. So you have to be very careful if you go for a dive. Another interesting note, both mid laners reset, but only T22 teleported back to lane. Raid Boss opted not to teleport back, still has that CS lead. More mobility around the map, potentially, if you can get a kill onto T22, who is level 6, does have flash out of a Spirit Rush, but that could be where that mid lane kind of starts to blow open, as we saw in our last game. Avochi comes down, but so far, it's been a very, very calm game number 2, 6.5 minutes in, Sophchan.
Yeah, I was looking at Raid Boss going on to the bot side, roaming. The Nico has the advantage of at least having a little bit more mobility than compared to a Syndra or an Orianna. And they can really trigger the, okay, oh, is this KCBO or is it not? And going in forward with a flash away.
They're going to be able to knock Marcus. There's that Winds Become Lightning into the charge. Follow-up knockup from the Xin Zhao Q. But here comes the Stand United from Bandit Boy. Shadow Dash going to land. And Bochi does pick up first blood, as we do see a great rocket jump there. Ice Ice Baby dropping low. T22 on the backside, but more just playing, kind of trying to ward off KCBO, who's coming down as well. Bandit Boy dropping low. Does Quackies have enough damage? No, they don't, onto that Shen. But here comes Raid Boss. Pop Blossom is available. The great headbutt to create some space, as T22 had to use that Spirit Rush, and it's a great 2-for-1 exchange bot side.
Yeah, Waynesburg had quite a lot of pressure here. They knew that having the Xin Zhao in a good position to go for that gank, they could execute it well. There was the Shen, but if they could take them down fast enough, that could be done. Oh, they're going to be looking at a 2v1.
Pop Blossom gonna go off, and then Vochi just simply dead. A great re-invade from Race Boss and KCBO to even it up and maybe secure this Ocean Dragon potentially. Your jungler's still alive, but it looks like he's just going to opt to steal some camps instead. Has to be careful, though, because Dweezil and T22 are still there, but is able to just warrior Trickster over the wall and gets away.
I like it. I like it. That was... Ooh, wow. Ooh. I thought those pixels hit, for sure. So it's a good read, because Waynesburg got that kill, got that fight, got the win on the fight. Bot side, then Waynesburg says, okay, we have a little bit of pressure. We can take your jungler, we can take your invade, we can get your red buff as well. and they're getting priority for the first Drake as well. So that works very well, especially because looking at Quackies, they're not doing as much damage this far. They have the Noon Quiver, but it's still just not enough. And we know how much the Tristana has to be careful with farming the lane, as we mentioned. So as soon as she has to reset, she does. And that is a big advantage that Indiana read well to get the Drake, following up with potential some platings here on a bot tier 1.
Interesting, maybe even a look towards a Rift Herald, because with those back-to-back deaths and multiple camps being denied an experience, and Vochi is still only level 5, so does not have that massive ultimate that can cancel so much damage in that Crescent Guard. Of course, nobody except people in his melee range can do damage to him. And you have to wonder, I mean, now he does hit level 6, but just... I think you could have taken this Rift Herald a little bit earlier. You can see the pings going out. Casey Bo is heading down. Mercy Penguin and Bandit Boy both there. Of course, Bandit Boy does not have that stand united, and you can see they're just going to walk away. Bandit Boy and Mercy Penguin dueling it out on the top side of the map. I don't think the Mundo wins this one, as here comes Casey Bo. Here comes Raid Boss. They're going to get rock jump forward for Quackies. Wants to go in. Flame Chomper's going to go down defensively. And Icy Ice Baby able to get away.
Gotta love that you lend the zap as the Jinx and you get engaged upon. It's just how Tristana plays. As on the other side of the map, however, we have Herald getting started by Indiana with Waynesburg just around the corner for a counter.
Raid Boss is there. Wind become lightning, not able to land, but the Tangle Web will. Meanwhile, Bandit Boy might just be able to pick up a free kill here. Ignite going to go out. Mundo Wall comes out as well, but that Grievous Wound's going to dramatically cut the healing. Finally, the Ignite fades, and Mercy Penguin trying to stay out of that alcove, doing a great job with those cleavers, at least returning fire, and probably did enough. Now here comes Weasel. Headbutt Pulverize combo is going to Ignite going to go out of that Shen, but here comes Casey Bo and company. Depth Charge going to get the knock up in the air. The Alistar ult reducing so much damage. Exhaust going to come out. Should be able to get back in tower range. Avochi is here. Super Mega Death Rocket is going to land. Casey Bo gets knocked into tower range. Cyclone going to be used as well. And they're going to be able to pick up 2 kills and potentially look for the dive here. On to Mercy Penguin. Can they pull it off successfully? Marcus needs to be the one to get tower aggro, be able to pull this off, and that's exactly what they do. It's a 3-0 topside for Indiana Tech.
Oh, you gotta love when there's just a beefy support that can tank the tower shots for you, and then they do it correctly. Oh, it just feels so satisfying. Not just they kill those kills, they're also going to go for plenty of gold distributed between Casey Bo and Bandit Boy with a Herald push. While on the bot side, both ADCs don't really care that they don't have the supports. Well, the Jinx does care, but Quackies are definitely a little bit less on the Tristana. So much survivability with her rocket jump and so much kill potential as well. So she's really just going to be pressuring the Jinx quite a bit. Overall on the map, things are very even. Ooh, was that cancelled? Okay. Things are very even on the board, Fish. Right now we got the CS department being very, very equal. The only thing that's making a big difference is those kills for Wukong's Casey Bo. Getting close to... Okay, they actually have finished their first item, so don't mind me. They have a very, very big lead.
This is massive. Casey Bo wants to make those ganks, and Vochi potentially looking for an invade, though. Not going to be able to find any of the combo. There's the headbutt pulverize. Great job knocking Ice Ice Baby right back in. Vochi going to pick up 1. Quackies with plenty of damage. GM Marcus going to be able to flash away, but should be able to take down here by this Tristana, but the rest of the team didn't follow up. So they let the Nautilus get away for free, and they're not able to get a kill on that Tristana that needs so much gold to hit that hyper carry status.
That's a big shame, because what we just praised for Indiana Tech in the top side, having that beefy support tanking the tower shots, they didn't quite manage to do the same thing. So the Wheels could have easily taken those shots and have Tristana get those 2 kills. Not just that, the Tristana didn't get the kill. It ended up going for either Invochi or the Wheels. So Tristana might be feeling a little bit thirsty, a little bit starving on those. You have Spirit Rush. They don't land the charm, but they go forward.
Flat forward from Dweezil. Gonna pop. No, still has the ultimate. His Alistar finally uses that unbreakable will. Crescent Guard be used for Vochi as well as Cyclone. Gonna pick up Quackies just off screen. Now T22. Great flash away, but that just felt like a fight Waynesburg had no reason to take, especially as you mentioned, Sophchan. The Spirit Rush had been used, the Charm had been missed, and then Alistar was like, I'm going in. Hopefully you're here. And that was just a disaster.
And oh no, it's going to turn into a dive onto T22 as well. They land the charm. Is it enough damage? The flame chompers are going to be there, so they can't really go forward, especially with no ulti either. They disengage from a dive fish. They'd rather just go for the second Drake of the game. It's not going to be an ocean, no, a Cloud Soul for Fish and Sophchan in the second game of a quarterfinals. Looking forward to seeing what it's going to be, because Indiana is going to take it very, very easily by themselves.
They do pick up that dragon. As we see, it is going to be a Chemtech dragon across the map. So empowered blast cone, empowered healing items as well. So very, very interesting dragon. I know one of those that has kind of had its ups and downs. So in that Cloud Soul territory, I would say. But, you know, definitely one of the few times we haven't seen a Cloud Soul in a series in quite a while.
What do we have? On the CS department, we're still very, very close, which is interesting and good for Waynesburg, considering they have fallen behind on those skills. Let's have a look at the gold overall. Yeah, it's pretty much even. The biggest, the most drastic difference would be the 1,900 gold ahead that KCBO has over their enemy jungler in Vochi, and mid lane as well, with around 600 for raid boss just on assists alone. And that is one of the biggest strengths for Indiana Tech, right, Fish? They just know how to communicate and get the presence around the map very, very well, and just planned out and executed.
Yeah, even without the Ahri added mobility, raid boss, as you pointed out, has done a great job roaming across the map, picking up those assists. Again, the CS, less than 5 difference. All of that gold difference in the mid lane is just on the back of Raid Boss being a better roamer. Unfortunately, when T22 has been around, they have been able to execute dive. And now, KCBO and Bandit Boy going to really invade the enemy jungle, take the blue buff away, and maybe even look for a return kill here, as Invochi just kind of starts up the one there. Is KCBO going to hop in with the Cyclone? Should be able to pick up the kill. Mercy Penguin there as well, but Icy Ice Baby is there with the Flame Chompers. A great route going to land. Quackies and Dweezil there as well, but they had one objective to Indiana Tech. It was jump in, get a kill, and jump out, and that's exactly what they did.
And they have been doing that so well this game, last game as well. Last time it was Raid Boss on the Ahri. This time is KCBO going on with the Cyclones over the wall. That blast cone, especially empowered by the Chemtech dragon you mentioned, is going to be so good for them. KCBO might be going here. They managed to get away, but not the cow.
Breakable Will popped on Alistar, and Dweezil will be able to just simply walk away from that one. That cooldown also very short, so basically can use it whenever he needs to go for an engage. But I think with that elimination, with that kill pressure, this should be a second Rift Herald picked up for Indiana Tech. So it'll be 4 objectives to 0 once this one goes down, as Mercy Penguin trying to trade out with Bandit Boy, but the whole enemy red team is in your river. You need to be very, very careful, Mundo. I know you have the ultimate, as the dredge line going to land. Teleport going to come in here from Raid Boss. Weasel does not have that Alistar ultimate. Does get slowed by the zap, and the Super Mega Death Rocket plus the crushing blow will be able to pick up the kill. As the Rift Herald resets, but they'll take a kill and they'll easily be able to take it down.
Oh, wow. We are getting to around 1.5k gold ahead for KCBO alone. Quacky's trying to do something here in the mid lane.
Oh no, now Mercy Penguin maybe felt the same pressure, had to go in. Flame Chopper's going to land the roots. And really the question is who will pick up this kill. It will be Icy Ice Baby, and now on a killing spree, 3, 2, and 3. And this game slowly starting to trend in the direction of game 1. Sophchan, as Indiana Tech gives a bigger and bigger lead. And here's a potential dive as KCBO on the backline. Pop Blossom going to go off, do quite a bit of damage. Crescent Guard pop from Avochi. Quack is able to jump over the wall, but KCBO with the follow, going to pick up one. There's a second, and despite first tower being taken down by T22 and a teleport coming in from the Ahri in defense, Rift Herald is going to make quick work. Charm is not going to work. The Rift Herald wants that tower, and the charge doesn't even matter as they take it out.
And not just that, it's going to be the first charge for the Herald on the tier 2, and they take it down as well alongside the wheels as they're going to try to defend the tier 3. I think there's another charge coming through. There's 30% health left.
They should be able to simply break this mid inhibitor turret. Do they want to stay for the mid inhibitor? They realize no respawn timer is way too short, sub 20 minutes, and that Rift Herald's value, Sophchan, as you pointed out, doesn't charge the first tower, so retains most of the Rift Herald's health. Gets 2 extra charges, tier 2 and tier 3 tower.
Insane.
That's insane at 19 minutes.
It really is. You have your inhibitor exposed. Indiana, as you mentioned, have 100% of the objectives so far, while Waynesburg is sitting on defending the base, trying to get a deny on this next streak because it would be so point for Indiana Tech. It's just spawning as we speak. And not just that, they're trying to get at least some vision in their own jungle because all of this side of the map is absolutely run over by Indiana.
But pulverized combo going to land. Indiana Tech had actually opted, coming off all those kills, coming off that tower gold, for a reset, despite the fact that Dragon spawned. And Waynesburg wasn't able to take advantage as the taunt is going to land. They get a great knock for Bandit Boy into the enemy team. Might be a chance to at least pick up a kill as the Crescent Guard is going to be popped by Mbochi, forced to flash away. Raid Boss is there with the Pop Blossom.
Ooh.
As Bandit Boy dashes over the wall, picks up one. Quacky's doing the best they can to pick up a kill for their team. Finally getting one out of the support. Has to run away as this Tristana. One more auto attack from Ice Ice Baby could potentially take them down as the Cyclone comes out. They pick up everybody else. It's a 4-for-1 in favor of Indiana Tech.
Things are really running out of control for Waynesburg now. There was good positioning from a couple of the players for Waynesburg. I saw Quackies being in a good position to go on the Jinx. There was good frontline being done by D-Wheels and Mercy Penguin, but Indiana is just so far ahead in regards to gold. We're reaching the 6,000 gold mark for everyone in the team. And 18 kills compared to 5 for Waynesburg. Things are not looking very great. The soul point is taken by Indiana Tech as well. There's so much vision and control that Indiana has over the enemy jungle that you don't really expect Waynesburg to feel comfortable in venturing into their own side. But they got to do it, at least to try to keep track of where the enemy is. As there is Baron on the board, I would expect to see most of the players from Waynesburg just on the left side. There is Baron to be fought over, because if Indiana takes it, it might as well just be game over.
The interesting thing is, if Indiana gets Baron, they only have one lane to push. Somehow they have 3 towers mid and 0 towers anywhere else on the map. So I'd be very curious if they get Baron, if it's let's just full commit mid, or if it's going to be, all right, let's slowly pick off some other towers. Let's just play the safe route here. Because there's a lot of options, but as you said, Sophchan, Baron's on the table. The rest of Waynesburg is trying to clear out lanes. You see T22 on the bottom side of the map does have the teleport. And that Baron is going to be started, but there's no vision. Waynesburg has no idea, I think, until Dweezil accidentally roamed into a mid-Baron fight. It does look like, for some reason, Indiana Tech actually opted to pull off and fully reset. Casey Bow going to dive onto Quackies there, and then just simply Warrior Trickster to safety. Now the rest of the teams have come around, and we'll get our Baron standoff.
I think it would have been very easy for Indiana to win the fight on Baron. I think it would have been easy for them to finish the Baron before any sort of threat could come from Waynesburg. But I understand. This time around, compared to last time, Invochi was 3 levels behind. But they are very equal now. Both junglers on level 11. The Smite is going to have the same threat. And as soon as you see the enemy jungler, you know that this could be turned on its head. But you gotta take some of those moments to really go in super aggressive, as this one.
Nice flash from the Pop Blossom, getting away from Mercy Penguin. This Mundo doing quite a lot of damage with those cleavers. Still has the ultimate available as well. No ignite. Maximum Doshi is going to come out at the very last possible second. Heal this Mundo up to full, but here comes Ice Ice Baby and company as GK and Marcus roaming up as well. Flame Chompers in defense, and very luckily, Mercy Penguin stays alive and denies the chance at Baron for Indiana Tech.
Fish, I think at this point, when you are, which is interesting, how are they only 5k gold ahead, considering the amount of bounties, 4012, 907, all of the objectives so far. It's impressive how Waynesburg is still there.
They might fall further behind. There's the Cyclone into the Stand United. Teleport coming from T22, but he's going to teleport into the middle of the team. It's a double kill for Casey Bow, and this could simply be it. Weasel trying to run away as Ice Baby and Casey Bow will follow. One more attack onto the Alistar will be enough. A great dredge line route going to land onto T22. Cannot Spirit Rush away. It's a clean ace. And with mid lane already pushing, this is at least going to be inhibitors. They don't have any teleports to make the minions immune, but they might have the damage Sophchan to finish this series right here.
They could have it. Inhibitor is down in the mid lane fish. Still all of those respawn timers going, ticking as the towers fall. Only Quackies is online, but I don't think they can do it.
Here come the respawns. Quacky's forced to jump away, and Vochi's going to get the knock up in the air. The Nexus is exposed, and Raid Boss does not care. Quacky's gets the shutdown, but nobody's stopping the Nico. One more auto attack should do it. And there it is. The Pop Blossom to finish it out in style is Indiana Tech with a 2-0 sweep to advance to the semifinals here in our Emergence Great Lakes playoffs. Absolutely fantastic job. They didn't stutter. They played really what felt like the same game on a different comp in game 2, Sophchan, and they made quick work of Waynesburg.
They did. It could have been a little bit